Hello, students. How are you? I hope you all must be fine and must be staying safe at your home. Now, today, the poetry what we are going to start that is Childhood by Markus Natten. Markus Natten is an Australian writer and he was born in 1975. He is well known for his book The Thief and The Messenger. Now, if we talk about the poetry, in the poetry, the poet Markus Natten wonders when and where he lost his childhood. In this quest to find the moment he grew up, Markus highlights the innocence and faith he lost even as he gained rational individuality. Adolescence is usually a confusing time for a child who is unable to immediately come to term with the physical, hormonal, and psychological changes in his or her personality. He no longer feels like a child but is not quite ready to call himself an adult either. He believes that he has lost the innocence and the purity of his childhood to some unknown and unforgettable place. Though his poem Childhood, the reader are confronted with a question as to when and where have we lost our childhood. The answers lead to self-discovery. The poet feels disappointed because he thinks being a child was better than being an adult. A child's life is peaceful and really sweet, while an adult's character is very complicated. If we now study the first stanza of the poetry, so in the first stanza, when did my childhood go? Was it the day I ceased to be 11? Was it the time I realized that hell and heaven could not be found in geography and therefore could not be? Was that the day? In these lines, the poet is curious to know when he lost his childhood. He tries to find out the answer of his own question. He feels it was perhaps that day when he discovered the theory of heaven and hell, and that geography did not provide him any information about the existence of such place. Education has made the poet look at the world different, with more of reasons and logic. The poet feels that he had probably lost his childhood when he had acquired a rational thinking towards his surroundings. In the next stanza, when did my childhood go? Was it the time I realized that adults were not all they seemed to be? They talked of love and preached of love, but did not act so lovingly. Was that the day? So, in these lines, the poet figures out that the adults around him did not practice what they usually preached. They taught others to be loving and caring when they themselves were violent and mean. This is when the child lost his trust and faith in the adults. The poet realizes that probably the loss of faith and the trust might have been the major steps towards losing his childhood. In the third stanza, when did my childhood go? Was it when I found my mind was really mine to use whichever way I choose, producing thoughts that were not those of other people, but my own, and my alone? Was that the day? So, in these lines, as the poet he grew up, the poet realized that his mind was unique, could form his own opinions, and could take its own decisions. He gained a sense of individuality which set him free from the prejudiced opinion of others around him. His own experiences shaped his thoughts. Now he realized that this might have been the time he lost his childhood innocence completely. In the last stanza, where did my childhood go? It went to some forgotten place that's hidden in an infant's face. That's all I know. In the final stanza, the poet changes his question from wondering at what point in time he had lost his childhood. The poet now wonders where it went. The last three lines may be interpreted in two ways. The poet claims that his childhood is nothing more than a long lost memory. He recalls his infancy and believes that his true childhood resides there, in that infant's face, and that innocence cannot resurface in this lifetime. The poet believes that his childhood has become nothing more than a memory for him, but has become the reality of some other infant. Innocence is a clinical process where lost from one person it travels to another, finding resistance there. Thus, till date, adults can easily recall and seem to almost relive their own childhood through an infant in their lives. Means, whenever any adult wants to relive his own childhood, so he can relive his own childhood in any other baby's face. So it means now the poet came to know that he has not lost his childhood. Rather, his childhood has gone to any other baby. So now just go through once more through this poetry, and then you will understand better this poetry. Okay, thank you. Have a nice time.